Recording.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ann Jensen. I'm the developer of HeartSpeak, and here is our lovely Shannon Hugman from Canada, Ontario, Canada. And Shannon has been in the HeartSpeak family since pretty much the beginning. Hey, Shannon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and she has a superpower, and it's astrology. So she's going to share with us today her superpower. She's going to do astrology reading on HeartSpeak.
Yeah.
HeartSpeak movement.
Yes. So I just want to preface this. I'm actually gonna screen share the chart that I'm gonna be interpreting. So if anybody out there has questions, if you want to know more about what a birth chart is or what it means, this is perfect timing because my recent podcast episode is called Birth Chart 101. So I released that yesterday, and my podcast is called What the Heck is Energetic Astrology, which is a mouthful, but you can always find me at shannonhugman.com, and you can get linked there. But anyways, if you see this chart and you think like, wait, I want to see my chart or I want to learn more about my chart, you can come on over to my website because I got lots of tools to help you on that, a lot of free tools too. So basically, a birth chart is a map of where the planets were when an individual or HeartSpeak, or it can be an event or a pet or an animal, but it's the moment something started where the planets were when we were born. So for us and as individuals, it's, when we came out, we took our first breath or whatever. But for HeartSpeak, we're using it as the first HeartSpeak class. So when the first HeartSpeak class started. So again, it's a map of where the planets were when you were born. I'm going to share the screenshot. You may feel like it's a lot of information. You can always email me. Even my email is info@shannonhugman.com if you want to know more, because it is pretty exciting. But I want to start by saying, like this, we were just talking, and what I saw in the chart is pretty amazing that we feel like we just had to share. And I just want to ask you again, Dr. Ann, you didn't plan when to launch this course around the astrological alignments at all, right?
No, but I always wanted to ask you when we should plan certain things, but I didn't get around to it. So no, this was totally coincidental.
I don't think you needed to, because it seems pretty perfect. So I'm just going to screen share. So hopefully right now, can you see a chart, Dr. Ann? Is it?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So you'll see this is HeartSpeak, November 22nd, 2014 at 9 a.m. in Oxford, England. And so this was when HeartSpeak level 1, right? Or HeartSpeak was born.
Yes.
So here we go. So one of the really exciting things that first jumped out, if you look at this chart here, can you see where my mouse is, Dr. Ann, as I'm talking? You can?
Yes.
So you'll see right here we have a crescent moon, and then we have a circle with a dot, and that is the sun and the moon. So this means when the sun and the moon come together in the sky, that's a new moon. So this happens once a month, basically, and it's a really powerful moment. And not only is it really cool, because if we zoom in, I wonder if you guys can see this, but you'll see that the moon is at the 28th degree and the sun is at the 29th degree. So we have 360 degrees here of this whole chart. And the moment that HeartSpeak started, the sun and the moon were within 1 degree of each other. So that may mean nothing to you, and it's okay if it does. But to me, that means something, because that's really, really, I wonder like if there's any like gamblers out there, they could tell us the odds of that happening. I guess it would be like, I don't know. But anyways, so it's really interesting, because what the sun represents is our conscious awareness. It's what we perceive, what we understand, our logical minds, is how I was talking about it in terms of HeartSpeak language. And if we imagine like an iceberg, the sun is that tip of the iceberg we can see and we can understand and we're consciously aware of. Now the moon energy is like that emotional mind, we could say, or all of those things that we can't always see. We can't always reach in and grab, this is anger, but we feel it. So whereas the sun, you can think about the sun as a light illuminating something, right? Shining something. It brings light to things. We can see it. We can understand it. Whereas the moon comes out at nighttime, right? The moon is more in the darkness. The moon can't always be understood in a visual way, but we're lucky that you started HeartSpeak, and we're lucky for a lot of different reasons, because when the sun and the moon come together, it's like that conscious awareness and that subconscious awareness are in alignment with each other. They're working together. And as I was talking about it with Dr. Ann, it's like the emotional mind and the logical mind, they're on the teeter-totter, right? And I really feel like in the in the new moon, the moment HeartSpeak started, it's really like the teeter-totter's equal. And I think that HeartSpeak is a lot of that, really giving space for the logical mind and the emotional mind. Although we do invite the logical mind to take a back seat sometimes, but I think also the research that's behind HeartSpeak, the work that has gone into it, the science behind it, I think that's really part of this teeter-totter of balance between that sun or logical energy and then the emotions and the feelings and the lunar energy. So why this is also exciting is because the sun and the moon were together in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio energy is a water sign, which is emotions. Now Scorpio, I like to say, is all about well, I like to say Scorpio is like the bottom of the ocean. And when we're down at the bottom of the ocean, we feel all the full spectrum of emotions. And so this energy is very much around being unbiased to certain emotions. This isn't, HeartSpeak isn't about kittens and rainbows and what feels good and then, sidestepping the more intense emotions or the less comfortable emotions. So if I was reading HeartSpeak as a person, I would say, this is someone who's going to value the full spectrum of emotions. This is someone who's not going to say, oh, like, I feel good watching that movie, but I feel scared watching that movie, so I'm not going to watch it. They're going to be the film critique who's going to listen to it all and see it all as value. Another thing that's really exciting about Scorpio energy is that it's about transformation and it's about growth, and specifically, in an emotional way. And as heart speakers, we know when we shift those emotions, then we can see physical results or we can see physical shifts as well. But Scorpio is very much the energy of it's an inside job. Now, what else is exciting is you see this, it almost kind of looks like, how would I describe that? Anyways, that's Saturn right beside the moon there. And so Saturn, every planet rules a constellation. And Saturn is the ruling planet of Capricorn. And I'm just bringing it up because Dr. Ann's a Capricorn and I'm a Capricorn. And I feel like of all the signs, Capricorns have to just say, hey, we're Capricorn, so everybody knows. Because the thing is about Capricorn is that's very much about climbing the physical mountains in life and really being physically responsible and physically committed. So it's a really cool balance because we're not saying, HeartSpeak is about physically showing up for the emotions, really is how I would say it, because the emotions are the Scorpio side, but the Saturn brings that physical, like almost a backbone, I want to say. So with that new moon energy in Scorpio, about transformation, change, the logical mind, the emotional mind coming together, and then we throw a little bit of Saturn spice on it. It says, but you can see tangible results with that. This can actually move mountains and shift things and make physical changes. But because it is in Scorpio, it may not be in a way we've seen before, or it may be in the unknown, or it may be brand new, because like I said, Scorpio is the bottom of the ocean, and we don't even know what lives down there, right? And so Scorpio, which HeartSpeak is a Scorpio, not to mention a Scorpio born on a new moon, which is a very powerful Scorpio, is very much about that, like being the deep sea explorer. And I think as heart speakers, we really do that, right? We go into those waters of our emotions, and I think hold
the deeper you dive, the better the clearing, man.
Yeah, exactly, right? And but I think there's also a little bit of some saving grace energy here with some other energies in the chart. So one of the ones I want to point out here, I'm going to try to zoom in again, is Venus here. So we have Venus, looks like the female symbol. And she, for HeartSpeak, let me zoom out now, is in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius ascendant, so we all have an ascendant. It also can be called the rising sign. So Sagittarius is rising sign, or HeartSpeak's rising sign is Sagittarius, and its Venus sign is Sagittarius. And so why this matters is because the zodiac leads off each other. So Scorpio comes before Sagittarius. And like I'm saying, Scorpio, it's the bottom of the ocean. It's transformation. It's all the emotions. It's, it's not like, let's sit around and talk about the weather kind of stuff. It's like, it's deep work. And then after Scorpio comes Sagittarius, where it's like, okay, come out of the ocean, come into the beach, and look, we have a bonfire set up, and we can sit around the bonfire and we can share stories, or we can share experiences, and we can learn, and we can grow, and we can feel warm and not so cold all the time. And so the rising sign is the energy that we get from someone. So it's not, again, this is kind of weird because HeartSpeak isn't a person, but if HeartSpeak was a person, it probably wouldn't feel like a Sagittarius. We don't always feel like our rising signs. Our rising signs are our ascendants, which again is this line here, AC, and it's so perfect because I literally this was very impromptu, by the way. Dr. Noah and I were just chatting, and we both decided this had to be recorded. So we just jumped on in true Capricorn fashion and got her done. But it's really timely because I did just do a podcast episode yesterday on breaking down Birth Chart 101. So again, if you want more information, like, come on over there to What the Heck is Energetic Astrology. And that's on all podcast platforms. But basically where I'm going with this is this ascendant, we all have an ascendant. We all have an energy or rising sign. And I like to call it our front door, because strangers who walk by our house, they can see our front door. And so it's that energy that we first give off to somebody. But how often do we look at our front door? Not very often. That's why I'm saying HeartSpeak wouldn't feel like a Sagittarius. However, the good news is Sagittarius energy is that campfire. So Sagittarius is about having fun and feeling good and feeling supported. And so that's HeartSpeak's front door, which is pretty cool because it's like, hey, it's a nice front door that's going to be appealing, and it's going to feel good, and it's going to feel exciting and feel hopeful to people. But it also has that backbone of that Scorpio where it's going to deliver, is kind of how I feel it. But it is a way where this is an analogy because I don't want to say this is specific to HeartSpeak, but it's kind of like, you don't know really all that you're signing up for when you sign up for it. You're like, I've never done a meditation before. I'll go on a meditation retreat and it'll be fun and I'll travel and I'll try it. And then when you're there, you're like, wow, this is really powerful. So I feel like there's a certain level of underestimating the power of HeartSpeak, but that's a good thing because some people may come in not really knowing just how powerful it could be.
Many people find themselves at a HeartSpeak seminar because they saw the logo or the word HeartSpeak and they said, I got to be there. But they didn't actually know why they had to be there. They just showed up and were usually blown away.
Yeah, perfect. And so back to this Venus sign over here. And so Venus is how we relate. So it's how we give and how we receive. And a lot of the time when it's in Sagittarius, this is about information and sharing information and coming together around information, right? It's that campfire. And a campfire, that's where we share, our songs, or we share our ghost stories. And so it's this energy, Venus, being about relationships, of people coming together and maybe whether it's sharing their experience with HeartSpeak or just bringing people together. And another thing I want to say too, you'll notice that these areas of the chart are really jam-packed. You can see these are pie pieces here, and you'll see how there's all these are all planets. These symbols in the middle are all here. And so this is the 11th house and the 12th house. And the 11th house is very much around, this is about the global connection. This is about the greater good. This is about being I like to say even like the grassroots movements or the causes or this isn't necessarily just about our personal desires. And so HeartSpeak is, really here for the collective. It's here to be here in a big way. 11th house people, they're the people who the world sees. 11th house energy is the energy that is here to say, here's my message and I need a megaphone to tell the world about it. So HeartSpeak, and then, the best part is this guy over here, it kind of looks like a little alien. That's Mercury. And so Mercury is the voice. It's how we communicate. So HeartSpeak's voice is in the area of like global community. So it just speaks to, it's a message for the collective. And I think, it's so cool how HeartSpeak's also been translated into multiple languages and is always continuing to grow into more languages. And so, I honestly think when I look at HeartSpeak's chart, if HeartSpeak was an individual, I'd say it's not a question of how much can you do. It's a question of like, how big of an army can you build kind of thing. It's a question of like, I like to use this analogy for myself. I use myself as an example, but I run an online business, and it's not so much around how do I find everybody who can come and buy something from me. It's, do I have the systems in place to support this growth? So it's this idea of, if 10,000 people came and wanted to buy something from me, I don't have those systems in place to do that. So where I'm going with this is, it's not so much around where am I going to find those 10,000 people. It's more of, I got to build something that can let these 10,000 people come in because I got something that I can share. And so I'm using myself as this example, but this is an analogy for HeartSpeak, where it's more around building the systems and building the container and building, how we can receive the people in, clearing our schedules to make room for it, and training that army. And then something else I just want to add that's really interesting. So this is where the planet, what I've been talking about up until this point is where the planets were when HeartSpeak was born. So this is HeartSpeak's natal chart, birth chart. But I want to just bring in for a second where the planets are now and what's coming up for HeartSpeak and what HeartSpeak can look at. So one of the first things I want to say is that it's just beginning. And why I say this is, so Saturn was in Scorpio in 2014 when HeartSpeak was born, and Saturn switches signs around every 2.5 years. So Saturn transited all through this area of Sagittarius, and then at the end of 2017, Saturn moved into Capricorn. So from 2018 and 2019, Saturn is moving through this first area of the chart. And the first house is about the energy of being an individual. So I always like to think of whenever we have transits going on, and I talked about Saturn as like the university professor. So, the assignments that HeartSpeak is getting is, it's just starting to realize it's an individual. It's just starting to like take its first steps kind of in a way, and really formulating, wow, how powerful am I? So I think HeartSpeak is very much in a self-discovery time right now, with an underlying, intuitive sense of like, this is big. I know this is big. But if you're watching this, and you're a heart speaker, consider yourself an early adopter, because what I then see happening, Jupiter is going to move into this area in 2020. We're in 2019, so next year, 2020, and Jupiter's going to come in, and then Saturn's going to move into this area of Aquarius, and, the next, 5 years of HeartSpeak, I feel like are going to be huge, and that's why it's important to build this army of heart speakers, because it's just begun. Like, HeartSpeak literally has just taken its first steps, even though, it was born in 2014, but I would say it wasn't even until 2000, even 18, I kind of want to say, even maybe halfway through 2017, that it even really opened its eyes for the first time. But there's no rush because we're not going anywhere, right? And I think that is just a really underlying thing too to remember, is that this is, there's no stopping this chart kind of thing. It's like, it would be interesting to see how it couldn't be successful. But I feel like, it's mostly now about just getting that megaphone and sharing it out there, and sharing those stories.
Tell your friends.
So I'm going to stop that. Pardon? Say that again, Doctor.
Yes, everyone, tell your friends, man. Yeah. Get on the board. Get on board.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's that campfire energy, right? It's like, just because I'll say it too, every HeartSpeak level 1 and level 2 that I've been to, or the conferences, it's so fun, right? We're talking about emotions, which normally people maybe get a little, not me, I love it. I love emotions, always have, but some people get a little skittish. But I feel like the HeartSpeak community and the people that have, we're all working together, and it's very campfirey.
Yeah, speaking of campfires, I've been doing some group HeartSpeak in here in Mackay, and I had a session yesterday, and a very tentative woman came in, sat down, participated wonderfully, and then at the end she goes, I really have to thank you because I felt so welcome here, so at home. Everyone was so warm. Yeah. And I feel so much better.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. So sweet. So yeah, I'm going to Well, I want to stop the recording in a minute because I don't want to lose anything. My computer's been kind of weird. But yeah, I just want to say thanks to anybody who watched this. Again, my name's Shannon Hugman. You can Google that, Hugman.
But she's awesome.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're like, what is this chart and what does it mean? I feel like a part of my life is being an astro kindergarten teacher. So I'm definitely here to help on that path if you think this is interesting and fun. But more than anything else, I just feel like I'm so excited to be part of HeartSpeak after looking at the chart. Really, this came out of nowhere. So it's cool that we got to record it and share it with everybody.
Yeah, thanks very much, Shannon. That was great. Wonderful.
Yeah, no problem. So is it okay if I stop the recording now?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Bye, guys.